are live. There we
We
go.
are operating under the assumption
Absolutely.
that we are live.
Ready to rock and roll.
How's it going, bro?
Dude, it's good. How are you?
It's been a minute.
Welcome to summer.
Yes. Oh, hallelujah. Now, okay, with you originating from the Great White North, what is your opinion of the Texas summer?
The contrast of being frozen all year long versus Texas, I'll take Texas all day long.
Amen.
All day long. Took me a minute to like figure out
Good
what
answer.
I do and how I roll, but yeah, way better.
Well, and I absolutely hate, I don't know if I have the seasonal affective thing or what, probably, but I absolutely hate rainy, gloomy, overcast,
Yeah.
just garbage weather.
Yeah.
No thanks. And there are probably, yes, one or two times out of the year I will complain like, oh my God, it's hot.
Yeah.
Other than that, no, you're in Texas, bro.
There you
It's
go.
the summer. What'd you
Yeah.
expect?
Yeah. There you go.
So, okay. So we got
You ready to rock and roll?
Yes. So
Okay.
how are things going? Because you haven't been here in a couple weeks.
Man, they're great. No, it's really good. We got we've had amazing events. Got amazing ones lined up. Like
Excellent.
It's been really good.
Okay.
It's been
And you're
really
looking a
good.
little more svelte.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. You know what I mean?
love it. I
Yeah,
love
no,
it.
A little at a time. I just have to do everything. And
Well, I saw your regimen.
You see my pile of
Dude.
pills, supplements, shots. It's
Yes.
it's a whole thing. Yeah,
And I was like, okay, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Because you were just all in, bro. It was like,
absolutely. Yeah.
And so I've added a new wrinkle. So
Ooh.
if anybody goes to the bathroom after me, not in a truck stop kind of way, but I added methylene blue.
Ooh, what is
Which is this?
what is that?
It's the bluest blue that you've ever seen.
Yes.
First off, and it's this tincture
Yeah.
that is supposedly good for a bunch of different stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but as a byproduct, it turns your
Gonna be glowing.
yeah. Well, no,
You're gonna
it-
slightly move into the blue phase. Be like
Dude.
that girl on the.
Oh, no, yeah, like the colloidal silver people.
Yeah, there you go.
Like,
yeah,
where you're just sitting there
That
and-
is Papa Smurf.
yes. So no, this turns your tinkle
Yeah.
into the toilet blue.
Yeah.
And it's like it's a shock. It's a
Yeah.
shock to the
Yeah, that
system.
sounds like a lot.
Had to Google that. And thankfully,
Am I
yeah.
dying?
Yeah, exactly.
What
Thankfully,
does blue mean?
Google or WebMD
Yeah.
correctly diagnosed, and I didn't. Turns out I didn't
Don't
have cancer.
ever WebMD anything.
I didn't have
Every
cancer.
time I WebMD something, they're like, "Well, you're dying of ovarian cancer." And I was like, "I don't,
Yeah,
I don't
right.
know. I don't think I
That
can."
doesn't
but
track.
but they're like, "No,
Yeah.
that's what that means."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Okay, that's a tough day."
Yeah, so thankfully, I do feel a little bit more. So I have my regimen, in the morning, and now I did the blue dropper in there.
There you go.
And but it's only been 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, yeah.
So the jury's out, but everybody, in the bro science world
Yeah.
swears by it.
There you go.
So
I'm
we'll see.
gonna have to add it in.
Oh,
Frequent-
dude, and it got tons of good reviews. It's nootropic. It's for antioxidant. It's a bunch of different
Yeah.
stuff. But they always do say well, don't do more than this, and then they get into this weird.
I feel like that's a test. I'm like, if one's good, 3, 5, 20 have to be better, right? Like that's
you are
the that's the downside.
You are
Yeah.
preaching to the choir on that.
So bad.
It's it says take 1 every 4 to 6 hours. So if I take 3 right now, this will be rock and roll.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And
It's a problem.
kids is how you end up in rehab.
That's how you do that. Yeah, yeah. So before we get into this, my big focus right now is going into summer. Meaning, so many people go into summer without making any adjustments, and this is especially for the single moms, the single dads, right? Those people with kids like that. They roll into summer as if it's just really hard winter in a sense, right? Right.
Winter in shorts.
Right. There's throwing snacks at the kids and just stay at bay. You know what I mean? It's weird, right? But I'm challenging so many people to sit down and go what do I want this summer to actually look like? Right? What's going to be a win for my business? What's going to be a win for me personally? And what are the things that I actually want to do? And sit out and sit down and go, what is going to be my actual summer schedule? What's going to be, because it's going to be different, right? What days am I going to take off?
Yeah.
What days am I going to work? How am I going to do things different? So just most people roll into summer kind of in survival mode. Especially if you got kids at home, whatever else. So man, my big challenge is figure out what your different pace is for summer, because it's going to be different. But let's figure that out in advance and really lean in there.
So it's weird, because we are in a seasonal business.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. And last month or technically still this month, but it's best one ever. And, my man Tanner's over there, and
Yeah.
we've been just this wood shop, we're just, the woodshed just banging stuff out. And I'm fired up.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not used to that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I texted him one day last week. Oh, it was the 3-day weekend. Because it's like, for me, I don't know about anybody else. I'm sure this is categorically unhealthy and or unwise. But like for me, whenever there's a holiday.
This is 2 days to get ahead of everybody else.
Exactly, dude.
Yeah. Like, game
you know
on.
what's up?
Yeah.
Yes. It is like, oh, that's OT.
Yeah,
That is like extra credit. Like
Right.
when you're a kid, it's like, oh, I got 108 on the test.
Right,
Or
yeah.
you did. It's the, you know, I could never figure out in soccer, like, oh, there's like extra time or what, like how but it feels like that, at least for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I texted him. I was like, "Hey, dude, what's on fire? You know, like, is there anything on
Yeah.
fire that we need to like look at right now?" And he's like, "Yeah, I don't think there is." And he goes, It's weird, but in a good way."
Yeah, like have we been doing things? Yeah,
oh,
like
yeah.
how are we making money and it's not about to burn down? I don't understand how we do both at the same time.
Yes, those.
Tanner's just like this calm in the storm that just rolls in. I think he floats. Actually, I don't think I've never seen Tanner walk. I think he just floats
Yes.
into spaces and just
like
does
Dracula,
things and
where
then
he
just
kinda-
floats away.
that-
Yeah,
in,
exactly. Yeah.
Coppola's Dracula,
Yeah.
where he just kind of floats into the room.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
But it goes back to what he said. It's the systems, processes, and like yesterday, he was out training guys in Fort Worth. You know, and it's so cool to have all of this stuff just kind of all roads lead to Rome.
Yeah.
And for the first time ever, I'm not in just freak out mode or, you know,
So good.
oh, this will get fixed by like, you know, another 10 hours in a Monster Energy drink.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that leads us into, so you had
does.
you had
There
a
we go.
graphic
Yep.
of, what was it?
It's something.
But yeah, we're going to scrutinize.
Yeah,
So
we're,
I'm
we're
going
gonna go through it. This is where we're gonna grade you.
Yes.
On there's a possible score I think of 8.
okay.
Okay, and we're gonna see if we're what happens.
Super secure, by
Yeah,
the way.
exactly, yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
everybody change your passwords.
There we go. Yeah.
Okay.
My team gets so mad at me. They're like, "What's the password?" I'm like, "Y'all know the password." They're like, "That one." I'm like, "It's the same. It's the same one. Like
the
if
same-
you've known my password in the last 15 years,
Still
you
got it.
can get into everything." Okay, here we go. So scale of 1 to 10. How good are we at saying no to things, Mr. Rick? Right? Because so many people, they just say yes, they say yes, they say yes, and then and how many times do you say yes to something that you know you're going to drop the ball on, and we still say yes?
Yes. Well, and so I will give myself credit on this is a learned behavior.
Yes.
So in the beginning, especially when you're struggling with imposter syndrome,
Right.
and you know, there's the element of you don't know your ass from third base.
Right.
And you're trying desperately to not let anybody in on that secret. So I would say yes to everything, just because time management was a foreign
figure
concept.
it out as you're going.
And
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I used to be guilty of, I would say yes, especially if we were in person.
Yeah.
And then, so like, for example, you end up as a realtor or in that universe, you end up going to a ton of events, you get invited to a million things, you get to this level of saturation point of, I'll say yes to you on a random Thursday.
Sure.
Because, 3 weeks from now, that sounds like it'll be
Right.
awesome.
Absolutely. Yes.
3 weeks from that time that I said yes, I'm now an hour and 10 minutes away from where your event is.
Yep.
I've said yes, and now I'm mad at you for inviting
Correct.
me.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at myself
Yeah.
for overbooking.
Yeah, no, and like it can become like it really can become. My coach, brought this to my attention years ago. It's like it can almost become an integrity thing. Like how often does somebody say, "Man, we should get breakfast"? And you're like, "That sounds great," and in the back of your mind, you're like, "Hell no!" Like I don't want to go do breakfast with this person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're like,
so like just
yeah.
getting better at that. And I think a lot of times my clients, I just need to teach them how to say no. And I think there's 2 principles behind this that are so good. First off is learn how to say no better. I'd love to do that, yet it's not in alignment with my goals. I'm going to have to pass on it for now. Or, man, I wish there was 2 of me, yet I'm already committed, right? Like, first is like having good ways to say no that feel better than just a hard or a harsh no, whatever.
And
it
a
is,
pro tip that I learned is, so you can set up, I assume everyone on earth uses Gmail just because that's kind of where
Yeah.
we are. But if you are using Gmail, you can actually set up to have anything that is structured in your email that is a date to be added to your calendar without confirming.
Right.
So I would say, hey, email me that because I'll totally forget.
Yeah.
So then it shows up on my calendar because the flip side of what I said is also true. I might say, oh yeah, I think so. Or I might say, I don't know. Let me
Right,
check.
'cause you don't, yeah.
And to your event, but if you email it to me,
Right.
something that I thought was dumb as hell
Right.
in the moment 3.5 weeks later,
Maybe great.
it might be great. And I might be 4 minutes away.
Yeah.
And so now I could be like, oh man, I'm just going to pop in on Wayne.
Yes.
What's up? You know, because I didn't have the overcommitted thing because I didn't say
Correct.
yes, but I saw
Yeah.
it there and it's on my calendar.
Well,
just not.
and the second principle is like, get clear on your yeses, and then your no's get really easy, right?
Yes.
Because like if that thing pops in your calendar and you already have an appointment in there, it's easy to say. It's like, oh nope, I'm already scheduled here. It's easy to say no to it.
Yes.
Right. So like when you get the clearer you get on your yeses, the easier it is to say no to things. You know, like one of my clients, like he goes, man, every year I've wanted to take Friday afternoons off, and this summer I think is the day I'm going to really try to do it this summer. And I was like, that sounds like a terrible plan. Like, you're going to just try. Like, you're a busy dude, right? Like, I was like, why don't we literally just put it in your calendar as like, I stop work here and here's, you know, and he's like, oh.
Yeah.
And I was like, if it's not blocked off in there, like, it's not going to happen.
Right. That's the thing too, where I was just going to say, you can augment all of this with technology.
Yes.
And so again, if it's not in the calendar, it's not happening.
Correct.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
If it's in
Yeah.
the calendar, then that is verboten to mess with.
Absolutely.
And then the last two things I would say is two elements that I have added recently. There's an app called Unroll Me.
Oh, I love Unroll Me.
Oh, okay. So you got it
Yes,
already?
yes, absolutely,
Okay.
yes.
So there, because I'm whatever neurosis and psychosis that I have inbox zero.
Right.
Well,
Inbox zero.
oh yeah,
That's
dude.
amazing.
Yeah, like right now, we could do a diagnostic. I
That
have
would be,
one unread email.
wow.
And one notification on Facebook.
Wow.
Everything else is
I'm
zero.
close. I have 6,604 and 226 text messages that are unread. Not even unreplied, just unread. And 376 voicemails. So we're close. I mean, we're basically doing
you're right there.
We're basically doing it the same.
You're right
basically
there. You're
the
right
same.
there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So years ago, I was, I will never forget this. Ebby's Google instructor pre-COVID. And one of the things that I would like to have fun to get everybody engaged or whatever. And I'd say like, okay, who in here has over 1,000 unread emails? All the hands go
Right.
up. And then it becomes this war of attrition.
Right.
And then the last one was something like 117,000.
Yes.
And I was like, at this point, just kill that one and
stop
start.
it all.
Yeah,
Just
just
start
start a
all
new,
over
yeah,
again.
start a
Yeah,
new
absolutely.
email.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
couldn't wrap my head around that.
That's crazy.
Because like, what's that? A decade probably,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
at least 5 years.
Absolutely.
Okay, next up.
Okay. Build systems, we get that. And that, like, Unroll Me, all that kind of stuff is
Yes.
But I think build systems too is like, willpower is not on will call. So like a system for us is like, I know what I'm having for breakfast. I don't have to come up with it and make a good decision every
Yes.
morning. Because it's just like, oh, this is what we do for breakfast. Right? It's so much easier now because there's systems in place.
Well, and even to like my wardrobe.
Absolutely, yes, yeah, 100%. I love these ones. I love the rule of 5 minutes. Like into everything 5 minutes early. To give yourself 5 minutes, like run to the restroom, do the thing, send the thing, whatever it is. So like,
Recalibrate.
if it's a half an hour meeting, make it a 25-minute meeting. If it's an hour meeting, make it a 50-minute meeting, right? Like build in some stuff because this one ties into this one, which is like, don't give yourself homework, right? Homework is for kids. Kids have homework. Adults don't need to have homework. Meaning like, I shouldn't get, because this is what used to happen to me all the time. I would get, like, let's say you go to a networking event and you get to the end of that event and you've got 45 minutes of homework, right? I told Joe I'd send her this. I told Sarah I'd do this. Like, all of a sudden you get to the end of your day and it's like, oh, I'm at the end of my day and I have 3 hours of homework. That's a bunch of bullshit. Like, what am I doing with my life? Like, this is crazy. And I would do that every day. I would get to the end of my day and then I would have like, oh, I have another 2 hours of homework and I'm exhausted or I'm sitting on a plane, whatever it is. So I just decided I'm not doing homework anymore. So like and you've seen me do this many times. Like say we're sitting here and I'm like, hey, I'll send that to you. I literally just grab my phone and send it to you.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm like, hey, we should do it on this day, I'm like, cool, let's just put it in our phone. Right? I'm not getting out of meetings with more homework. I'm not leaving a networking appointment.
That's also a
with
learned
homework.
behavior.
Oh, it's so huge. Somebody's like, oh, I need to update my credit card. I'm like, cool. Here's her email address. I'm done. Like I play hot potato with everything. Like I'm done with it. Like I don't want any homework. Nothing's going to my backpack.
And I already had homework from last night.
Yeah.
That I was like, oh yeah, I'll send you all those links in the morning.
Yes.
And I said, just text me to remind me, and she did. So now
there you go. I'm just like, no homework, close all the loops.
Wow.
But part of the way I do that is ending everything 5 minutes early.
And
right? So I
now-
have 5 minutes to do the thing and it doesn't compile over the day.
I'm still at the place where even I've been somewhere for 20 years, but it's like there's still the part of me that's like idle hands of the devil's workshop,
Yeah.
which, you know, that's my jam.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I just occupy my time just in order to not let my, you know, the inner demon have any kind of room to move.
Yeah.
So like there, I fully, but like also I don't even have a dog anymore. So it's like, I don't have kids. I don't have a dog, you know, pets, nothing. So there is that element of what else would I be doing? You know, like what, yeah, it isn't.
I just think it's so easy to get caught in feeling like, and here's one way of saying it, like we feel like we're successful when we're busy.
Oh,
and that's a bunch of BS. You know what I mean? And I think when you look at it from a different perspective, it's like we did this whole training yesterday about burnout, and it's like burnout is not the price you pay to be successful. And most people think it is. Most people think burnout's the price I pay to be successful. And it's like, no, like systems and clarity and intentionality is the price you pay. But most people are just burned out and they go, oh, this is just what it takes. And it's like, no, that just means you're doing it dumb ways most of the time.
So now what do you think about whenever, so like I have yet to experience burnout in what I'm doing. And then I try to look at it, or not really, but, you know, here while I am actually looking at it, statistically, what do you think the percentage is? Because I love what I do, it seems like the ratio of burnout would be lower.
I think that plays a big role into it. Most burnout is either like, I think one of three things. I'm doing things I don't want to do, right? You know what I mean? Which kind of like what you're saying, right? I'm not passionate, I don't like this. But I think even bigger is most people, they're juggling too many random things into right. It's just there's too many things.
Scattershot.
Too many balls they're trying to keep in the air instead of like, oh, I don't have to deal with this until Tuesday. Put it on the Tuesday shelf, right? Like, oh, this is Sarah's job. There's too many things in there. It's almost like there's just too much chaos in a sense, and it leads to the feeling of burnout. And most people think, oh, I'm working too many hours. It's very rarely the hours they're working. It's almost always about like they're so all over the place in those hours that they're mentally exhausted. Like if you're jumping from project to project, you know, all day long, you'd be exhausted. So I think that's what most burnout is it's too much chaos, too many balls in the air, lack of clarity, lack of intentionality.
Well, and I always find this interesting because I'm just an oddball in so many different ways, where the novelty and the variety is one of the things that kind of keeps me interested in. And then the time, like whenever I was like when I worked at the Ivory Tower at Citi, where it's like you go to your office, you sit at the desk, you do the thing all day, and it's just like this massive gravity well that just sucks every bit of energy and spirit and enthusiasm out of you. But like, hey, here's a giant check. How about that?
Yeah.
You know, it was like that sucked.
Yeah.
Even though statistically on paper I had all the stuff and everything that I thought I wanted, and then it's like ... Why does this? You know.
Well, you need that polarity. You need that perspective, right? And then someone that has had maybe they were had a terrible physical job. Is like, oh my gosh, I get to sit at a desk?
Yes.
Right? Like all day I get to sit at a desk? Like,
yeah.
So I think so much of it is like it's also how we choose to look at it.
It's human nature. We always compare up, not down.
Absolutely.
And that, that's one of the hallmarks of, I think, just kind of getting right sized.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, okay, I'm not tarring roofs. I'm not digging ditches. I'm not moving furniture. I'm not doing all of these things that, like, especially due to my age now. I just couldn't. And
just being so grateful for where you are, right, compared to where you've been, and it's still being excited about the future.
Yes.
Like, excited to get better, but being grateful in that moment. And I think that goes back to this one really, really well, which is like reminding why you started, like anchoring it back to your purpose. Like, why am I doing this? Like, what was the point? Like, and going back to, like you said, like that purpose, that why, what drives you. I think is really huge to remind yourself of why you're doing what you're doing.
Well, and like whenever I focus on stuff like this, because it's weird for me being like the workaholic bachelor or whatever. So I have this thing where, okay, yes, there's the column of, well, you ain't got anything else to do.
Right.
You know, and then now a lot of it comes from, I just want to see if I can.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, where it's like this weird, you know,
fall in love with playing the game as much as you enjoy winning.
It's like this just romanticized situation with the process.
Yeah.
And oh wow, if I got this far not knowing my ass from third base, well, like wow, what can we do if we actually try, or we actually like focus on, and that's what and it's already been like this force multiplier, you know, and that to me is the coolest thing of all, you know, because and I was thinking about this morning, where over the past few days, for the first time ever, it feels like broke through the clouds.
Yeah.
And not quite to like full on cruising altitude yet, but it was like the turbulence, which has been like 6 years of like bumpy ass weather.
So fun.
But to pop through the clouds, it's like, because I don't know about you, but in that turbulence aspect of the flight, I just had this thing where I just assumed it was going to be like that forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you start doing these things like the systems where I still will have the knee-jerk reaction of like, oh shit, I need to jump in there and handle that. But when I'm watching it from the bleachers and the assistants and the admins and everybody are all dialing it in, and I didn't have to do anything, I still struggle with this.
Good.
But
that thing that you felt for so long is hard to kind of go like, oh, we're okay now.
Yeah. And there's a weird, I don't know if it's like some sort of weird misplaced puritanical work ethic guilt or whatever, where it's like, you should have handled that or blah, blah, you know, whatever. And it's like, I'm working on that. I'm getting over it. But now it's way easier.
Yeah.
And so.
Well, I love the question, which ironically leads to the question.
Check that. Timely.
It's amazing how you do this. I love the question, what belief is making this harder than it needs to be? Right? So, like, let's say the belief of, like, I need to approve everything.
It's exactly that.
Or, like, I need to blank. Or, right, like, I'm not above taking the garbage out. It's like, I get that's great, but, like, also you pay someone to take the garbage out. So, like, stop doing that, right? But, like, it's like, what belief am I... And that's what I see so often is, like, this is going to be really brutal. Okay, well, is it? Or is it just going to be as hard as it is and we're making it more brutal by that belief? Or all of those things add up so big.
And that goes back to that weird puritanical work ethic, which on a certain level, I'm grateful.
Right.
Now, like the generations before me of my family that witnessed anything before age 36 would not be like, who the hell is this guy? And where did he come from? Because categorically growing up, that was not me.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I was lazy, I was just bored.
Right.
And it's like I was also apathetic. And so like boredom and apathy, woo, there's a fuel.
It reminds me of that Tony Robbins quote where he says, most people aren't lazy, they just have a uncompelling future. And that was probably right if you was like you didn't have a really compelling future that lit you up. So I was like, right.
Right.
And like it comes across as lazy, comes across all these other things. Very, very interesting.
But I did have, and I'll be eternally grateful for, I did have that work ethic installed by osmosis.
Yeah.
And then it turns out like, oh no, I really am from this gigantic gene pool of just 80 hours a week dudes that they just did. Like back then they did that because that's kind of what you did.
Yeah.
And that kind of what you had to do. And then it was like, suck it up, buttercup. It's time for work. And like, I always hated that shit. And then, full circle, here I am. And it's like, I will work 7 days a week. Now, again, I'm not digging ditches and I'm not putting in 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, but I love it. And now for me, the whole thing is learning how to delegate.
Yep.
Asking better questions, and then letting go. Like one of the best things about having Tanner is I can be like, I don't know, dude, what do you think about this?
Yeah.
Because it's like, this looks like a total shit sandwich. And I can freely admit that like, okay, when I pulled the trigger on this 18 months ago, it seemed like a good idea. And with the information that I had, that put the fire out.
Yeah.
But now in daylight, it looks, that's infected.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I think that's infected. And that's just, again, part of the better questions. And then you got investing coaching.
Yeah.
And again, I tell everybody, hey, if you want free coaching,
start a podcast. Absolutely.
Build a studio, have a show.
Yeah.
And like, I can't tell you how much I love this. And this is actually like, you're coaching me in real time where I'm taking the quiz. I had no idea what was on your graphic or whatever.
Yeah, you teed me up perfectly for the next one every single time, which is amazing. So there you go. Yeah, good job. Yeah.
Well, we do have our skill sets as far as...
We do.
And, after now we've done this 100 times.
Yeah.
And also knowing your style and seeing you in so many different places live, which is one of the reasons why that... I knew that you would be perfect for this, and that you wouldn't freeze.
Yeah, we'd figure it out as we
yes,
go. Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
You're not a stranger to, nor are you afraid of building the plane in midair,
Right.
which I think is one of the things that freaks people. And that again is human nature.
100%. Yeah,
It is freaked out, but there is something so liberating about that. And like my mantra to the guys that work for us is always like, dude, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. No. And I don't mean that in the sense of do a half-assed job because
Right. Yeah.
whatever. I mean like, no, dude, don't get all in your feelings and write the story in your head before you do anything.
Correct.
Because at the end of the day, nobody cares.
Right.
And if you do shitty, nobody cares.
Yeah.
If you do great, nobody cares.
Yeah.
It's all how you determine
Yes.
what it's worth to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's like one of those things where time takes time and
Yeah.
you don't ever learn. And there's no way to learn that. I can't remember who said it, but it was one of like Modern Wisdom or like one of those podcasts where the takeaway was the human animal only learns the hard things by doing them themselves.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, money doesn't make you happy, or just fill in the blank of all these things. Like, working 100 hours a week isn't fulfilling, or whatever. Most people have to do that before they realize that
Yes.
that isn't the thing.
Yeah.
And I'm as guilty of that as ever.
Absolutely.
Or as anyone.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Good list. I think your grade is much better than it would have been.
Like on day one when we
24
did-
months ago.
Yeah.
This
Oh.
your score. If we could rate,
I'd have gotten a goose egg.
You would have got a 32%, and I think now you're probably up in the high 80s. What do you think?
Oh, at least a 51.
Yeah, at least a 51.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. No, I think, probably. I could muster a B.
I
on that.
think you could. Absolutely.
And again, all of those are necessary roads as far as, at least by everything I've experienced, and there was no way to learn it without doing it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. No,
And,
it's a process you have to go through to get it. And like you said, it's like you plan, you prepare, then you have to practice before it becomes actually who you are. And like you got to go through all those levels to get there.
And the intention and reflection.
And the intention and reflection. There you go.
Bam!
Absolutely.
Oh, look at that.
Boom. Look at that boom. There you go.
Bam.
We fired up.
Yes. Until next week, sir.
Until next week, sir.
All
See you
right.
there.
Thanks, y'all.